What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about something that flies in the sky, and that is electric planes, aka vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, kind of like electrical helicopters. Namely, we're going to be talking about Archer. Most of my research was actually in electric cars in the past, similar but different. So I'm learning as well, just like you. So if you know some stuff, share it down below. We can all get stronger together as investors. Let's do it.
This is Two Random Dudes Invest.
I'm gonna let you know what I'm gonna do as an investor relating to Archer at the end of the video, so stick around for that. But so here we have ticker symbol ACIC, and that's a SPAC that's gonna merge with Archer with a definitive agreement. So this is not a rumor anymore, it's actually for real, unlike other companies. This is something. But hold up, real talk. Is this all hype, or is this a real thing that's gonna happen sooner rather than later, like in 10 years? Is it in 5 years, or is it in like next year? So Archer right now has a flying prototype, and they're doing weekly test flights. They are partnered with Fiat to help them with engineering and with maintenance of the lithium batteries and all that tech, all that kind of back-end stuff and engineering. On a financial note, Archer has $1 billion of orders with United Airlines. It's basically a partnership where they're like, hey, you make us some planes, we get you some money, bada bing, bada boom. So they're working together. So they basically have the money, and it's guaranteeing them orders. So all they have to do is just execute, make the thing fly, meet all the regulations. The regulations are actually getting developed as all these companies are growing their tech. The standards and regulations are actually have to be created. We never had battery powered airplanes before, so you have to have new rules, new safety standards, and that's why it's taking some time, because safety is obviously super important. You don't want somebody flying off from the sky, you want to keep it safe. So Archer plans to launch in a few cities in 2024, and they're going to be scaling up from there. But that's their main goal in terms of timeline. So it's not going to happen next year. Unlike EHang, which is actually more advanced than Archer, and that's going to be covered in another video. They're a little bit more ahead. It's a Chinese company. Check that out. But we're talking about Archer, which is a US company. So let's just check out Archer. So this is Archer's investment presentation deck. Got some fancy 3D generated imagery. So as you can see right here, Archer and Atlas Crest SPAC is going to be merging. It is a $2.7 billion valuation, and the result of which is going to be $1.1 billion coming in, and $500 million of that money will go to the company. Testing, all that is very expensive. You're gonna have a cash and runway to get this technology off and flying. If you want me to do more videos about these different companies, comment down below. There's a full interview on Bazinga with Adam Goldstein. They're partnering mainly with United. So they do have a whole bunch of engineers that came from Wisk, one of the big players in the industry, and also from Airbus. They do have a lot of engineering mind power. It's just a matter of making it happen, meeting the regulations, and just executing and getting this plane flying. Like we see here, they have direct sales of aircraft, and there's also the possibility of doing ride sharing. They are going to actually make their own app and ecosystem to be able to do ride sharing, basically heli taxis. But to be honest, they're competing with Joby, which is serious competition, and Lilium, but Joby is the big one. And the big top dog is EHang from China, and companies like Lilium and Joby from US. They're planning to partner with different services. I'm gonna play the clip right here. Imagine with one app, so with one app and a couple of taps, imagine you can get a taxi come to your house, brings you to the heliport, and then an electric helicopter brings you to the main airport on the strip, and from the airport you take a flight to another city. A future that is pretty interesting and exciting. Before, this cost just a lot of money for most people. We don't usually have $1,700 lying around. I don't know about you, but 50 sounds much better. And it's going to revolutionize hopping inside the city, or from the inside of the city to an airport that's on the outskirts, or between two cities that are close to each other, like 200-300 kilometers away. Boom, you pop in, no traffic. You just go bloop, no traffic. Swarms of these planes in the air, like in the futuristic videos. I think it's going to be a while. eVTOL can generate 18 times more revenue than ride-sharing car, mainly because a flying vehicle is actually faster on average than a car that with traffic will go at 25 miles per hour. But the flying craft could just go over and just save you tons of time and money at the same time. An example, in this 25-mile journey, you basically do it in 12 minutes on this flying craft versus an hour, most likely stuck in traffic. You could actually do more trips per day because it's much faster versus each trip taking an hour. You can do 5 trips in the same hour. So basically they can make more revenue, which makes a lot of sense. I think this is the future. To be honest, usually these things are the perfect version of the scenario, but it does demonstrate it is faster compared to what we can actually do today. We actually have the timeline of what they're planning. So they built the world-class team. Then from 2021 to 2024, the real main key thing here is approvals, certifications. That is the key thing to land. And from then on, they're planning to go into mass ramping of manufacturing. And that's when it's going to get really exciting in this field. That's why I think it's good to talk about this now, early, as opposed to later on in the 5, 10, 20 years. But there is one thing to know about the hype cycle in this industry. I'll talk about that in the end. But moving on, and then after 2027, they're planning to go autonomous, and that's when it gets really juicy and go global. And this is actually an interesting chart where you can actually see that the different partnerships with the different companies. Archer is with Fiat, Joby is with Toyota, Wisk is with Boeing, and Volocopter is with Daimler. EHang, which I'll talk in another video, it's doing its thing. Key thing there, EHang is automated, and so is Wisk. And Archer, that's something that they're more planning to do for the future. That's actually one of the differentiators for EHang, is this autonomy section right here. This is very surface introduction of what I learned in the last day of research about this sector. Do your own research. You could actually find these investor presentations by just Googling investor presentation Archer. That's how I found it. So if anything I said is wrong or to be clarified, let me know down below. And the final question, so what am I going to do about this? If we just check out this chart right here, the SPAC is ACIC. So right now it went up to 17 and then it consolidated around the $13 mark. What I did is I actually bought some warrants at around 348. It's a very speculative play, and especially with warrants, you don't need much, because with a warrant, it could multiply your gains or multiplies your losses. Usually I use stop losses with that. So one of the reasons why I see Archer as a short-term play, this is a company that's going to produce something in 4 years, 3 years at least. So according to a Vertical Flight Society here, we are right here on this innovation trigger hype curve. And this thing might go crashing down in half a year or two once these guys hit some roadblocks with manufacturing, maybe some problems, like knock on wood, hopefully it doesn't happen. But if there's any delays with manufacturings, certifications, lack of liquidity, problems that I didn't think about, well, you're gonna come back down this curve right here, and you'll still have another chance to buy some of this, but you don't know if it will actually be this deep. It is a speculative play, so that's what I'm gonna do. But definitely don't do like me. I am just a random dude on YouTube. This is what works for me as an investor, but each person is different. I'm actually curious if you're gonna trade Archer. What do you think about the tech? Do you have another company that you have in mind that you do want to invest in? Or maybe a company that I didn't mention in this video or my top 5 videos as well? Mention it down below. We'll have a conversation, get stronger together as investors. So if you like the video, hit the like button, tap it gently. I'd really appreciate it. EHang video at the top and top 5 if you haven't seen it. See you next time.